Ladies and gentlemen of the American jury and Bulldog Nation, and particular citizens of Ohio and voters of Ohio, I'm about ready to tell you a story which each and every one of you need to understand and be aware of. It is a story of absolute corruption to the core of the Ohio legislative system, the Ohio court system, and it goes on every day, and you need to be aware of it. I have just found out, and unfortunately, I didn't find out that Mike DeWine had signed the bill until yesterday. He actually signed it on July the 24th. So what I'm about ready to tell you is now law in the state of Ohio. It's called House Bill 179. And what House Bill 179 did is it decided to take a law that was been in place in the state of Ohio, which stated that when a doctor or a medical professional flees the state, leaves the state or the country, that all the time limitations running against them, like the statute of limitations and the statute of repose, are frozen in time. So you don't lose your case against them because they abscond, they leave. This bill cannot be called, not just House Bill 179, it must be called the Dr. Durrani Indicted Fleeing Felon Protection Act. Because without any doubt, this law was passed as a result of Dr. Durrani. Now, I'm going to go right to the bottom line. Every single state rep in Ohio, Democrat and Republican, every state senator, Democrat and Republican, all voted for a law that supports what Dr. Durrani did. It helps Dr. Durrani. Can you believe that? And it was signed by Governor Mike DeWine. Do you believe that? That has happened. That tells you how powerful the corporate healthcare lobbyists are in this country. What it did, again, to emphasize it, is it used to be that the tolling or the freezing of all statute of limitations and something called the statute of repose are told so you don't lose your case waiting for a guy to come back that's never going to come back. Just so you know, Durrani fled the country as an indicted felon in 2013, and he's not coming back. And although there's an extradition treaty with Pakistan, they're not honoring it. Why? Because of what we did with bin Laden, flying into their airspace. Now, this story will blow you away. It was sponsored, the act was sponsored by Adam Matthews and Brian Stewart, along with Bill Seitz, state rep. Guess where he works? Dinsmore and Scholl, who represents Durrani's insurance company, represent hospitals, Christ, Westchester, UC Health and Children's in the Durrani debacle. This all comes from Dinsmore Scholl. Bill Blessing, state senator. Gene Schmidt, state senator. Cecil Thomas, state rep. And Michelle Reynolds, state senator. All sponsors of this bill. And it was signed on July 24th. You can't make it up. Now, let me explain something to you. There is something called the statute of limitations. In the state of Ohio, you have 1 year to bring a claim from what's called a cognizant event when you knew or should have known that a doctor screws up. It's called the statute of limitations. You have 1 year. And there's a reason why doctors are trained to tell patients, oh, it probably is going to take a year for this to heal up. Number two, Ohio also has something called the statute of repose. And what the statute of repose is that no matter when you find out about the malpractice, You have to bring a claim within 4 years of that event of malpractice. So let me give you an example how I found out about the statute of repose. A woman comes to me and says, I just went to a new cardiologist, and the cardiologist reviewed the films of the old cardiologist and said, I did not need the open heart surgery that I had 10 years ago. I said, that's amazing. That's a $1 billion lawsuit. Destroyed her life. She was a business owner. Think about that. She had an open heart surgery she did not need. Why? Money. I file a lawsuit. The defense attorney files a motion to dismiss on the statute of repose. I'm like, what the hell is this? This was a long time ago. This is when I learned about the statute of repose. Sure enough, I look at the law and I said, well, this shouldn't apply to this situation. This is fraud. This is crazy. Butler County judge, who by the way, later dropped over a heart attack. I never forget Joe Dieters tell me he was a good guy. I said, I'm glad he dropped over of a heart attack. He deserved to drop over of a heart attack in light of what he did to this woman. Sorry, I'm harsh. Justice, baby, justice. So get this. That woman could not bring a claim. Hell, how the hell was she supposed to know? You know how she found out? That cardiologist retired. So she went to a new one. How the hell was she supposed to know she didn't have that? And by the way, this same type of law in states like Kentucky found unconstitutional. But Sharon Kennedy, the current Chief Justice, and Maureen O'Connor, the former Chief Justice, led the way to find it's constitutional in Ohio. Now, do you believe that? Now, Durrani victims are the same way. Some of them had surgeries in 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9. They didn't know until 2013 that he got arrested. What do they argue? Statute of repose, statute of repose. Now, you can't make this up. The statute of repose law says 4 years. There is that statute that I mentioned that they just changed that said everything is told. From 2013, forever, we argued that wait a minute, that statute, ignored by the Court of Appeals, ignored by the Supreme Court, ignored. This case goes before the Ohio Supreme Court. Maureen O'Connor, Fisher and DeWine have to recuse themselves. She appoints 2 judges, a Republican and a Democrat, to fill in for them. We lose before the Supreme Court 4-3 on this issue. We file a motion to reconsideration. Only after a motion to reconsideration, the Democrat that she appointed votes with the 3 Dems, and the day is saved. The day is saved. I mean, that's how close we argued this for 10 years, and they didn't listen to it until a couple of years ago. Maureen O'Connor, $4 million from the healthcare industry while she was Chief Justice. Sharon Kennedy is already sitting on millions of dollars from the healthcare industry. Who's replaced her? She's even worse than O'Connor on these type of rulings. All right? Now, I wrote a letter to every Democratic legislature back when the statute of repose going on Durrani cases and said, you guys got to change this law. Not one responded. Not one responded. So, just so you know, folks, and by the way, none of these people, they might support Trump now knowing that he's going to be the nominee. But from 2016 till now, these folks never said a word of support of Trump, a word of defense of Trump. Come on. Trump should have endorsed Renacci over DeWine. Now he's stuck with DeWine, who gets to appoint the replacement of J.D. Vance. You think DeWine's going to listen to Trump? No. So get this. You can't make this up. And I want to apologize to all the Durrani victims. I was told it hadn't been signed yet. And yesterday, I told them all, hey, start calling DeWine and emailing. At least DeWine, after the fact, knows that he screwed up by signing the Dr. Durrani Indicted Fleeing Felon Protection Act. I mean, at least they know that. But, folks, the Republican legislature is not your friend. See, the reason why I'm a man without a party is the Democrats do crazy stuff relative to our country. But the Republicans don't give a damn about the average Jane and Joe. They don't, folks. They don't. Trump does. Republican Party does not. They don't. The Republican legislature in Kentucky passed limits on medical malpractice cases, statute of repose. It got all struck down as unconstitutional. By the way, Ohio has limits. Ohio Supreme Court lets it be. And what's really amazing in these lawyers that represent the hospitals and everything, they think that they're these great lawyers. The deck is stacked against them. By the way, we're still beating their ass. Now, I got some more that I want to share with you. Who weighed in on this bill? The Ohio State Medical Association, the Ohio Nurses Association, the Ohio State Bar Association, which are defense-oriented, Ohio Hospital Association, Doctors Company Insurance, and it's the one that really pisses me off, the Ohio Association of Justice, which are supposed to be the plaintiffs' lawyers. They know that we've been battling them on this issue forever. Nobody contacted us to tell us that this was even going on. Now, let me tell you what I'm doing in response to this. I am going to actually hire somebody full-time who's going to track Kentucky, Ohio, and United States Supreme Court decisions and Kentucky, Ohio, and Congress legislative decisions. Full-time job. I'm going to hire them. Because that's the only way to do this. Now, I got to ask you a question, Ohio citizens. Do you think anybody in Ohio that's not connected to hospitals and healthcare, do you think any citizen in Ohio would support the statute of repose? No. See, we talk about this. We're a republic. We elect these representatives to represent us. No, you elect them, but they don't represent you. They represent themselves. That's where our democracy, our democratic republic has failed us. We elect people to office, and then they represent themselves. Because no voter in Ohio would ever support the statute of repose. No voter in Ohio would ever support House Bill 179. Ever. It gets better. And by the way, in this bill, they say the second part of House Bill 179 overturns Elliott versus Durrani, which held that when a party is absent from the state, the statute of repose does not toll. They changed that. They changed that. Now, the good news for the Durrani victims is that this is an ex post facto retroactive law. And it looks like to me, because we've already done the research on it, that all these lawsuits that are already filed cannot be covered by that statute. But if somebody called me today, and you have to understand, he operated Children's Hospital all the way up to 2009. There are still some minors out there. But if you're past the minor age, he's already fled. So anyway, get this. I got this from a doctor friend of mine. Due to House Bill 179, Ohio corporate health care now has a stronger incentive than ever to hire surgically aggressive foreign-born doctors who have international golden parachutes flee back to comfortable life in their homeland. This bill will give you, Ohio, more Durranis. From another lawyer friend, the reason why the media should pick up on this is because Ohio will become a breeding ground for incompetent foreign doctors who commit malpractice. Once the civil malpractice suits begin to pile up, the negligent doctor returns to his home country. 4 years later, he can return to Ohio and start all over. The negligent doctor is off the hook, as is the hospital. His medical malpractice insurer is also off the hook. The folks who are stuck for the doctor's damages, the citizens of Ohio. Now, I got some more stuff that's going to blow your mind. Now, let me tell you about these guys. Representative Adam Matthews, look at him. He's a good little boy, Lebanon, intellectual, worked as a civil engineer for the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program, going to Notre Dame, vice mayor of Lebanon, chairman of the board of Elizabeth's New Life Center, blah, blah, Thomas More Society, Warren County Republican Party. Look at this guy. He's an all-American, good old Republican. This son of a bitch and the rest of your Ohio legislatures could give a damn about average Jane and Joe Ohio citizens. Could give a damn. The other main sponsor, Representative Brian Stewart. Look at him. All-American, nice American, served his country in the military, owner of the law office of Brian Stewart in Circleville, blah, 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 blah. Adam, Brian, for the rest of your life, I may be 60 years old, about to be turning 61, young men, but let me tell you something. I got good genes and good health. For the rest of your life, I am going to torment you every way, shape, form I can. And in fact, anybody who knows anything about those two gentlemen, I want to hear it. Now that I've educated you, Roger, you ready for the punchline? Sabrina, you ready for the punchline? Now that I've educated of what House Bill 179 is, here is the punchline. This is what the Republicans and Brian Stewart and Adam Matthews published publicly about House Bill 179. Listen to this and compare it to what House Bill 179 actually did. House Bill 179 legislation that simplifies Ohio's legal system by clarifying against which parties and in what time frame certain lawsuits must be filed was unanimously passed by the Ohio House and Senate and signed into law, announced bill sponsors State Rep Adam Matthews and Brian Stewart. The bill codifies a 4-year time period during which certain lawsuits must be filed against any potential defendant. Bullshit. That law already existed. Additionally, it clarifies both which industries and professions require specific named defendants and to the extent to which certain businesses are liable for their employees' misconduct. Bullshit. Healthcare. Both changes aim to clarify recent court decisions and solidify long-standing Ohio law. Long-standing Ohio law is you couldn't flee to avoid liability. Do you believe these shameless bastards claim this? Our intent is to ensure transparency, clarity, and easily understood legal standards for our businesses, hospitals, and attorneys. Bullshit! It's to help the hospitals, corporate health care, and defense attorneys. With the increasing complexity of the law, what is so complex about the law? Saying, you flee, everything's told. House Bill 179 will preserve the legal framework Ohio has enjoyed for decades and provide stability for our economic and legal parties, and they do not unnecessarily drag in innocent, unrelated people at great personal expense. Do you believe this crap? House Bill 179 strikes the right balance between allowing meritorious claims to proceed, but also streamlining the litigation process and preventing the overnaming of defendants based on only legal technicalities. Ohio, your entire legislature and your governor voted for and signed that crap. They signed that crap. It's unfreaking believable. It's unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, you know I'm nobody's bigger than Trump, on Trump than me. I host Patriots Day Freedom Fest. Do you know the Ohio Republican Party, the Butler County, Ohio, Hamilton County, Ohio, Claremont County, Warren County, Ohio, the Kenton County, the Boone County, the Campbell County, Grant County, Pendleton County, Gallatin County, and the state Kentucky Republican Party. In 2021 and in 2022, last year and this year, none of those parties promote Patriots Day Freedom Fest. 15,000 people attended last time. 15,000. Donald Trump Jr. is coming this year. Why do they not promote it? Because they don't want anything to do with Trump in reality. And two, because of me. Because I fight the bastards every day. In other words, those Republicans all support everything healthcare did to you in COVID. They support all the crap that they do to you. The billing fraud at St. E's does to you. The Durranis. All that stuff. They support that. And I'm telling you, folks, it's sad, but you can't trust the Republican Party. Let me tell you something else. The Ohio Supreme Court is controlled 4-3 by Republicans. You are a damn fool if you live in Ohio and you do not vote for the Democrats who are running for the Supreme Court in Ohio. You should vote for Melody Stewart. You should vote for Bruner. You should vote for Donnelly. You should vote for all the Democrats who are running for the Ohio Supreme Court. They saved the Durrani victims. The Ohio Republican legislature wants to stick it to them. Folks, again, I can't stress this enough. Every legislator in the state of Ohio, and Governor DeWine just signed a law that protects bad people like Durrani who flee. It's sick. It's sick. Media hasn't done a story about it. Nobody's done a story about it. Nobody. I didn't know about it till yesterday. And I thought it hadn't been signed yet, but it has been signed. So, ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, I know this has been long, but it's been educational. It's worth it. It's why I've started, and I'm going to begin, the American Law Party. It's why I do what I do. And it's why I'm going to hire a full-time person to track legislation going on in Kentucky, Ohio, and Congress from now on. Because the media doesn't do it. They're not going to look out for you. I'm going to look out for you. And by the way, all I ask of you to do is support me, follow me, help me. Eric at ericdieters.com. ericdieters.com, check it out. You can text or call me, 859-250-2527. Come to Patriots Day Freedom Fest the weekend of September 13th. The speakers are on September 14th. Support Eric Dieters Media. Subscribe to the Eric Dieters Show. And if you get a big case, contact me. Because in my job as consultant, I work with law firms and I can help you. And remember, you can always text me and I'm going to give you free legal advice. I'm allowed to do that. So you can help me by supporting me in those ways. I got your back. These bastards don't. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day.